Hi, my name is Randy Patterson and I'm the CEO of ProDoula. I'm here today with Aisha Fanning. Aisha is a member of the ProDoula Training and Development team, and today we're going to specifically talk about a brand new program called the Infant Feeding Educator program. Aisha is a trainer for the program. It's brand spanking new. We're going to talk a little bit about what it means to teach infant feeding education in your community and how that conveys to a larger doula business. Aisha, how are you today?
I'm wonderful, Randy, for having me.
Of course, it's always fun to work with you. You always bring so much energy to the table and wisdom. I mean, Aisha, really, you never cease to amaze. I know that you have built a really strong following in your community based on your expertise. We don't get to be the expert at the front of the room without doing the legwork behind it. So, give us a little bit of background, like how long you've been doing this, and the education behind this.
Yeah, wonderful. So I have been a certified doula for 11 years now, and I'm an agency owner for 6 years and a doula trainer for 5 years. And I strongly believe in a firm foundation of education is power and knowledge and just continuing to grow and slow and steady, just keeping that traction going continuously.
It's
So
one of the things I've always loved about you, that slow and steady. It's like you've just been so consistent. There are times where I've seen you be able to just pour everything you have into your business, and there's been times where prioritizing family first and kind of move it. Like that's one of the beautiful things about what we do as doulas is we can lean in, right? And then
yeah.
lean out a little bit when necessary.
And that happens when you've got a firm foundation of what your big picture is and what your goal is and your why. If you just jump in, like you're gonna flounder that,
Yeah,
and it's not gonna last. But if you go in
totally.
with right mentors and strong head and like, okay, what's my passion? What's my vision? What's my why? Slow and steady will get you every single time.
I love it. I love it. Tell us a little bit about the Infant Feeding Educator program.
Oh, wonderful. So training that in May and then teaching it in June. I'm going to be honest. I was like, okay, what's so different about this than, being a specialist and infant feeding specialist, but they go hand in hand. And so being able to sit in front of expecting families who may not want a doula in the long run right off the bat, but want the education beyond lactation and nursing. This encompasses from birth to the first year,
Yeah,
solids, weanings, formula, bottle feeding, everything. It's a toolbox for
totally.
infant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that like over the years, but so many families hear this message that like breastfeeding isn't going to work. Breastfeeding doesn't work. It's not going to work. Like they have friends, they have family members who, for a multitude of reasons, weren't able to breastfeed. And we don't know what level of support those people had. We don't know what level of commitment those people had. Like everybody's different. So more and more people are like coming to infant feeding education classes prenatally because why? Tell us, what are the reasons that people are taking your classes?
I feel it's because they've heard from everybody, oh, it's too hard, or they hear it's best. And so there's no medium as to, okay, it's the best and it's the best nutrition, but what if it doesn't work
Yeah.
for me, or it's hard and we shouldn't even try it? It's the perfect medium. Like, okay, we're gonna go in with no expectations, but we're gonna teach you all the things you need to know so that when you encounter or when you make the decision that's best for you and your family at any given time. And it's never all or nothing. So you
Yeah.
don't have to do all one way or nothing. And just solidifying that and
Yeah.
way more tangible for the families. Yeah.
What would you say like is the most important message when you're teaching? I mean, of course you teach people how to become infant feeding educators, but when
Correct.
you're working in your own community and
Uh-huh.
you are teaching either private infant feeding education classes one-on-one with someone or a big group class, like if those people leave with one message from you, what's the most impactful thing that you can impress upon the people, the families, the pregnant families who take your classes?
Um, I guess knowledge and support. So attending that class is that first step of knowledge. So who is your support system with that knowledge?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what would you say? Okay, here's a good question. What would you
Okay.
say is the percentage, even if it's a rough estimate, of people who come to your classes to learn about infant feeding and end up hiring you as a postpartum doula or someone from your agency as a postpartum doula to really like assist them in real time?
Yeah. Oh, I want to say it's like right there, like 75%
Yeah.
or so. Because if it's not immediate, it's in the long run. They're still calling us within that first year.
Yeah.
And that's what's amazing. Like, it didn't work out maybe 6 weeks or so in, and then we get a call 6 months out, and because they remembered that support and the knowledge they received and that expertise. Yeah, it's quite a bit. And think about it. We're teaching these classes, and people are learning so much in this new realm until they've got to let it simmer down. And then once they do, then they can pick and like, oh yes, I remembered. They made an impact on me, an impression.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because you said the word foundation again, and you said it a little bit earlier when we were talking about like how you came into this work and like just building a strong foundation over time. And like, that's literally what you're saying about the attendees, the learners in your classes. They're coming in and you're laying a foundation through education and informing them about support. What's the difference? What's the difference between the support of family and the support of a professional postpartum doula, let's say?
Oh gosh, like we're like that robot that has the book that can rattle off the, AAP recommendations and guidelines,
Yeah.
Without our own like bias into it. So it's like, here's the facts. What sounds good to you? Okay, this is how we navigate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that flow chart.
Totally.
Yeah.
I find that like when it comes to family and friends, when they talk to pregnant people or newly postpartum people with an infant, they almost want to direct that person to what they did with like maybe an underlying need for affirmation for what they did. Like if I can talk you into doing what I did, then what I did feels more right.
Oh, 100%. Like that validation, like, okay, I didn't mess you up though, right? Like I made decisions that were best for and it's so, yeah.
So look, infant feeding educator, like this is an amazing certification that not only like positions you as an expert in your community and enables you to teach classes in your community on infant feeding, but to be able to say to your clients as a doula, I'm also a certified infant feeding educator, so I'm going to be able to help you on that side as well. How do you feel like that's benefited you as a doula and agency owner?
Yeah, and as an agency owner, I've got doulas who aren't ready necessarily with life to jump into doula work, but they can teach, and they can teach a class that fits their schedule. And so, like, being an educator to the community is another way to support your community, especially if they can't afford your services as a doula right now.
Yeah,
they can afford your class, and you're still making that impact and that touch.
Totally. Oh my gosh, great advice. Aisha Fanning, thanks so much for joining me today. You're so vivacious and delicious and amazing. You're like jam-packed with knowledge and personal experience. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking about becoming a certified infant feeding educator, look on the ProDoula schedule, the training schedule for a class with Aisha Fanning. It's ProDoula.com. Check out the training schedule and look for Aisha Fanning. Thanks, Aisha. Have a great day.
You too.